Hi everyone, today I'll be giving a demo on Databricks to Fabric migration. In this session, we'll be performing an assessment. As part of the assessment, we'll conduct an inventory scan, identity mapping, and extraction. Then, we'll move on to code migration for storage objects, followed by data migration, including the initial load, CDC, and data compare. Finally, we'll cover ETL migration. First, coming to the Setup module, we need to go to the connection screen and add both the source and target connections. Here, I've already added some connections, both source and target. We have 4 targets here: Fabric SQL, Fabric Data Warehouse, Fabric Lakehouse, and Fabric Pipeline for the ETL. Next, moving on to the assessment, we go to Schema Management. Here, we select the source connection and execute it. This generates the inventory scan report. I already have a report generated, so I'll open that. This gives us the Databricks summary report, which includes details of clusters, catalogs, schemas, tables, secret scopes, libraries, notebooks, and DLT pipelines. The next step is identity management. As part of security rules, we extract the security configurations from Databricks. For that, we set the connections and execute the process. To generate the full permission report. This is a granular level permissions: cluster, warehouse, Unity catalog, schema level permissions, table level permissions. And this is the overall permission. So based on that, we can map the roles with the Fabric roles. So based on this sheet, we can deploy the roles from this target deployment to the Fabric. Moving on to code migration for storage objects. We select the run number we used previously. Then choose the source as Databricks, select source schema, and target connection as Fabric Data Warehouse. Based on the inventory scans, security rule extractions, and workload analysis, we decide which Fabric target to use: Fabric SQL, Fabric Lakehouse, Fabric Data Warehouse, or Fabric Mirroring. This choice depends on the specific workloads and inventory scan reports. Right now, I'm performing the migration for Fabric Data Warehouse. After checking the details, we execute the process. If we look at the Fabric Data Warehouse, you'll see there are no tables and views. Once the conversion is completed and we refresh, we can see all the tables and views. Let's check the code migration. Storage object reports. We select the run number and download the report. Opening the report, we see a summary showing that tables, primary keys, foreign keys, not null constraints, and views all match successfully. Finally, we go back to the Data Migration module, under Configuration, and create a new configuration there. In this operation, we have to select E2 eData load. We'll be performing an initial load plus CDC. You have to select the source connection, the Databricks connection we added earlier. Then select the schema, the tables, and the data load type, database. Followed by the target connection. First, we'll create a config for the data warehouse, then for the lakehouse. We will select the CDC data load type as database, which means the data will be migrated directly to the database. Then, we can provide any configuration name, and it will create the configuration. We'll follow the same process for the lakehouse, select the lakehouse as the target connection, and create the config. I've already created 2 configs for the data warehouse and lakehouse. Now, let's go to the execution screen. Once the configs are created, we can execute them from here. We need to select the source connection, target connection, and the configuration file. As you can see, the DAGs are ready. We'll first trigger the initial load, and once it completes, we'll start the CDC DAG. Before triggering, let's check the target for records. As you can see, there are no records in the employees or employees_records. In Databricks, we'll check the count of the source table. We have 20,000 records in both employees and employee_records. In the lakehouse, there are currently no tables. Now, we'll come back here and trigger the DAGs for both the data warehouse and the lakehouse. In the scheduler, we can see that both DAGs are running. It will take approximately 1 minute to migrate the data. After that, we'll start continuous inserts, as well as some updates and deletes. All jobs are completed. Now that the data is migrated, let's verify it. In the Lakehouse, we'll check the count of the employees table. 20,000 records, same as the source. In employee_records, we have the same 20,000 records. In the data warehouse, the count is also 20,000 for both employees and employee_records. Now we'll run an insert query that continuously inserts data at regular intervals. It has started inserting. If we check the count now, we have 22,000. Now it's 23,000 records. Next, we'll trigger the CDC for both the Lakehouse and the data warehouse. Now the CDCs are running. The count of the employees table is now 30,000. In Fabric also it's 30,000. The counts keep increasing until we stop the insert process. Now it's 34,000. There is a lag of only 1 to 2 seconds. It is reflected within seconds. After refreshing the Lakehouse, we get 34,000. So, the data is getting synced properly. Now, we'll perform an update operation on the employee records in parallel. From 1 to 1,000 records we've updated the names. Let's check if the changes are reflected. As you can see, employee 1 updated till 1,000 records. Now let's check in the data warehouse. It's updated for 1 to 1,000 records as well. The same in the Lakehouse. Updates are reflected for records till 1,000. Now, we'll perform a delete operation. We'll delete records from 1,000 to 2,000. A total of 1,001 records were deleted. Let's check the count. Previously it was 20,000, now it's 18,999. We'll verify in the data warehouse, the count is 18,999. Checking in the Lakehouse, the deletion is also reflected there. So once the initial load on CDC is completed, we can do the data compare. For that, we have to come to this data compare screen. We'll create a config here with all the details. Source schema, table name, target connection, target schema, compare type. We have to select detail compare, request CPU, limit CPU, and we have to give the configuration name. So I've already created a config and I've executed that. So I'll show that report here. This is for one of the tables we did. I'll open the report. As you can see, this is how we get the data comparison report. Table name, compare data count, difference count, extra rows, missing row count. This is a sample data that we will get. Differences, if there are any. Extra rows, missing rows. So next is ETL migration. For that, we have to come to the ETL conversion. We have to select the source, target as Fabric, object type, notebook, and in the pipelines, we'll select the notebooks, this employee pipeline notebook, employee pipeline orchestration notebook. This is a nested pipeline. Enterprise data transformation notebook. Production ETL complete notebook. So I'll trigger this. Till then, I'll show you the Fabric landing zone here. As you can see, there are no notebooks, which we have selected right now. Till then, we'll see the source notebooks we have. This is one of the notebooks, Employee Pipeline Orchestrator. In this, we have these butyl widgets. So in the Fabric, we'll be converting this to a parameter. We have to pass it there. This is Enterprise Data Pipeline. And this is Production ETL Notebook. This has some magic commands. So we'll check the status once. It is in progress. Now that the conversion is completed, we'll check the notebook in the Fabric landing zone. We'll refresh the page once. Now, as you can see, the notebooks are here in the Fabric. It's converted. So I'll open one of them. This is one of the notebooks. Whatever the functions or libraries that are dependent on the Databricks, we have to convert them to be Fabric compatible. This Employee Pipeline Orchestrator, which is a nested notebook. Inside this, whatever dependent notebooks are there, those will be automatically deployed in the Fabric. Enterprise Data Transformation. In the Databricks, we have to use the use statement to connect to that lakehouse. But in the Fabric, we can directly use those lakehouses in the notes here. And we have one more, this production ETL notebook. This has magic commands and everything like that. So we have to convert that based on Fabric compatibility. Here, instead of going to separate modules and doing the assessment, code conversion, data migration, and ETL separately, we can go to the E2E migration screen. In one click, we can do the whole Databricks to Fabric migration. We just have to select all the connections and execute it from here, and it will be done. Thank you.